All right, let's dive into a really powerful poem today. Adrienne Rich's Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. Now, this one's short, but trust me, it packs a serious punch. So let's get right into it. At first glance, you might think this is just another poem you have to study for class, but it's so much more than that. It's this incredibly moving story about a woman's inner world, about how art can be this beautiful, almost desperate way to escape oppression. It paints such a clear picture of a quiet, personal fight for freedom.
Okay, so before we jump into the poem itself, it really helps to have a little bit of background. We're going to talk a bit about the poet, Adrienne Rich, and then get a handle on the main idea of the poem.
So the poet is Adrienne Rich, and she's a really big deal in American poetry. But the most important thing you need to know about her, for this poem especially, is that she was a leading voice in the modern women's movement. A lot of her work pushed back against, male-dominated society, and seeing this poem through that feminist lens, well, that's absolutely the key to understanding what's going on with Aunt Jennifer.
So what's the poem all about? Well, at its heart, it's about the suffocating feeling of being trapped in a marriage where you have no power. It sets up this huge contrast between the amazing free world a woman can create in her art and the scary, trapped reality she actually lives in. And that push and pull between imagination and reality, that's what drives the whole poem.
And the poem's structure is just perfect for this. The first stanza throws us right into Aunt Jennifer's dream world. It's full of bravery and freedom. But then, bam, the second stanza just pulls the rug out from under us and drops us into our harsh, oppressive reality. So let's start with that dream world, shall we?
Okay, so first up, let's explore this incredible world of freedom that Aunt Jennifer creates with her own two hands. Wow, just listen to those words. The language is so full of life, so full of energy, right? It paints this picture of these powerful, confident animals that are literally everything their creator, Aunt Jennifer, wishes she could be. And that last line, sleek, chivalric certainty, that alliteration just sounds so bold and fearless, doesn't it?
So, this makes you think, doesn't it? Do our own creations reflect what's going on inside our heads? I mean, think about it. The art you make, the music you listen to, even your hobbies, aren't they kind of like a window into who you really are or who you want to be? For Aunt Jennifer, these tigers, they're not just a cool design. They are her soul, finally let loose.
Okay, let's break this down a bit. First, they prance. That word is just bursting with energy, right? Then they're called bright topaz denizens. Topaz is this beautiful, valuable gem, and denizens means citizens. So they're like these precious, powerful inhabitants of their world of green, the jungle, a symbol of total freedom. But here's the real kicker. They do not fear the men, and that is the complete, total, heartbreaking opposite of Aunt Jennifer.
So the big poetic device here is obviously symbolism. These aren't just tigers she's stitching. No way. They are a symbol of everything she wants but doesn't have. Strength, confidence, a life without fear. You could almost say they are her true self, finally running free.
But just when we're getting lost in this amazing, powerful world she's created, the poem hits the brakes. Hard. And we're about to be thrown back into reality.
All right, now let's look at the reality. We're moving from the art to the artist, and it's a completely different world.
And just like that, all that energy from the first stanza, it's gone. The whole mood just deflates. The language feels heavy, tired, weak. I mean, think about that shift. We go from the confident prance of the tigers to the nervous, fingers fluttering of the woman making them. That alliteration really drives home how anxious she is.
Let's really picture this for a second. Her fingers are fluttering. That word makes you think of something weak, nervous, trembling. Maybe from fear, maybe she's just tired, or maybe it's both. And get this, even pulling a tiny needle through soft wool is hard for her. That tells you just how completely exhausted she is, body and soul.
And that brings us to maybe the most powerful line in the whole poem. The wedding ring has a massive weight. Wait a second. How can a tiny ring be massive? It's physically light. So what's actually weighing her down so much?
Well, this is a fantastic example of a poetic device called hyperbole. It's just a fancy word for exaggeration to make a bigger point. Of course, the ring isn't physically heavy, but the marriage, the life that ring represents, that's what's heavy. It's this crushing emotional weight she has to carry around constantly.
So think about it like this. If the tigers are a symbol of her freedom, then the wedding band is the symbol of the complete opposite. It stands for the heavy burden of her marriage, the control her husband has over her, and the fact that she's lost herself along the way. It's not a symbol of love here.
It's a chain.
Okay, so we've looked at the dream and the reality. Now let's put it all together and see what big ideas this poem is really talking about.
When you boil it all down, it's pretty clear. Stanza 1, you've got fearless tigers, full of power, a symbol of freedom. Stanza 2, you have a fearful Aunt Jennifer, weak and nervous, with a wedding band that symbolizes oppression. The difference couldn't be more extreme, and that's exactly the point.
And from that massive contrast, we get some really important themes. We've got the huge gap between our dreams and our real lives. We have a powerful statement about the oppression of women in a male-dominated world. But it's also about something we can all relate to, that deep desire to be free and to express ourselves. And of course, it's about how art can be an escape, a way to speak when you don't have a voice.
And that leaves us with a pretty deep question to think about, doesn't it? We know her tigers will live on long after she's gone, forever free and fearless on that screen. But was their freedom ever really her freedom? Can art actually set you free, even if your real life is still a cage? It's a tough one, and something the poem really makes you consider. Thank you for watching this video on Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. In the next part, we will explore the final stanza and understand how the poem concludes. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the ACE archive for more Class 12 English explanations. Keep learning and stay consistent.